all of you. Looks like we have a quorum, so I'm going to move right ahead and call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. This is our agenda for tonight. We do have a packed agenda, so I'm going to be moving pretty quickly. We have a couple of guest speakers, and I really want to get us to the committee breakouts, which will enlighten you about all of our advocacy efforts that are going on now and that we'll have throughout the year. So without further ado, I'm going to move right on to our prayer and inspiration, which is being brought to us tonight by Pami Sadava. I think I saw Pami up here. So welcome, Pami. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Michelle. I hope to speak for everyone, even though I rely mainly on my understanding of my own faith, which is Sikhism. The prayer is to God, the one and only creator of everything and everyone, everywhere. Dear Almighty God, as we embark on our collective activities today and in the new year, give us the strength and wisdom to live up to your teachings. Help us to develop the virtues that should guide all human beings and to avoid the vices that we so easily fall prey to due to our ignorance and other human weaknesses. Help us to remember you at all times and to know that you have created all human beings as equal in all respects. Help us to serve others and to treat everyone with fairness, kindness, compassion, and justice. Help us to do so without making any distinctions on any basis whatsoever, be it caste, creed, gender, race, religion, nationality, ethnicity, or any other. Help us to serve others with humility and to treat everyone with respect and dignity, putting our common interest above our self-interest. Help us to intensify the good fight as your teachings and some of our leaders have asked us to do. Grant us also the strength to change what we can, the patience to accept what we cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. In this way, help us to make our community a better place for everyone, everywhere. With these words of supplication, we ask that you bless our work today and every day. Amen. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you so much for those great words of wisdom and inspiration. As I said, we have a packed agenda today. And I'm just going to ask if there are any changes to the agenda. Hearing none, I'm going to adopt the agenda by general consent. Again, welcome everyone. I'm Michelle Leet, the proud president of Fairfax County NAACP. Welcome to our first meeting of 2023. It is great to be here. I just had a wonderful meeting with your executive committee team, your fabulous executive committee team a couple of days ago. So we're really excited to get started. I did want to find out if we had any new members or people who are coming to this meeting for the first time. Jennifer, if you could launch the poll. So do we have any first timers to our meeting? Jennifer, I can't see the poll if you launched it.
I think people should be able to see. It says it's
Okay.
sharing. We have 37 responses. 7 say this is their first meeting, and 30 say it is not their first.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, welcome again to your first meeting. We certainly hope it won't be your last. I did want to start the meeting again, talking a little bit about what NAACP is. I'm sure for many of you, this is information that you know well, but we are definitely the oldest and largest civil rights organization in the country. Very proud to be operating in Fairfax County since 1913. National NAACP was actually founded in 1909. I think we're all here for the same reason, fighting for equity and social justice. And like I said, we've been doing it since 1913, and actually we're celebrating 105 years in the Fairfax County community. We disruptors. We're trying to dismantle racism and certainly disrupt the status quo, creating a more just and equitable society for all of us, but particularly Black and Brown folks who live in Fairfax County. Our structure of the NAACP, we are the national organization, is headquartered actually not too far from here, right here in Baltimore. And then we have our Virginia State Conference NAACP, which is in Richmond. Most of you probably saw the newsletter. We had our legislative day with the General Assembly, and the Virginia State Conference sponsored that. We are actually very fortunate that we have 2 executive committee members who sit on the Virginia State Conference Executive Committee. Our immediate past president, Karen Camblin, who is now our 3rd vice president, and our 1st vice president, Nikki Zimmerman, both sit on the executive committee of the Virginia State Conference. So of course that keeps us connected, especially as things are happening in the General Assembly that impact Fairfax County. And then, of course, we have the Fairfax County NAACP. Our branch is number 7066. So if you're looking at your membership card, or you've seen that number on your membership card, that designates us as the Fairfax County branch, which is, like I said, 7066. As I mentioned, we had a great meeting with the executive committee a couple of days ago, and we talked about our vision. We're very fortunate because we have 2 past presidents sitting on the executive committee, Karen Camblin and Shirley Jenwright. We have some leaders who've been around a while, and one coming back to us, our branch secretary, Mike O'Brien, who was the branch secretary previously, and then Evelyn Spain, who served on our leadership team for quite some time now. So we're very fortunate that we have a great executive committee. We have past successes to build upon. So really my vision is to improve on what we're already doing so well. One of the things that we want to focus on this year is membership engagement. This is tough work. It requires a lot of time, a lot of energy, and my hat's off to all of you who volunteer your time and energy helping to make Fairfax County a better place to live for everyone. So we want to do some membership engagement activities, and you'll be hearing more about that. We want to have more opportunities to elevate and advocate. You saw this week, we sent out an advocacy alert about an education bill that was coming forward, and Dr. Hampton, our education chair, will be talking about that a little bit later. But you'll probably see from us once or twice a week, we'll be sending out information about advocacy alerts and different things, different bills, and different policies that might be coming forward that we are either advocating for or against. So please keep subscribing with us. Don't unsubscribe from our newsletter, but it is important information that we want to push out to our membership. And like I said, we'll try not to send you more than 2 emails a week. You're going to see some more letters to the editor and more testimonies, as we are, of course, in a year where we're having an election year, there'll be a lot of things going on that we'll need to respond to. So there'll be a lot of information, like I said, that we'll be pushing out that you will see. We are also going to embark on having some branch office hours. You know, we only meet once a month, and there are a lot of things that happen outside of the meeting, before and after our meeting, that we need to connect with the members on. So we'll have branch office hours that are virtual. You'll be able to dial in and ask questions, or you have an issue, a complaint, or something that's going on in your community that you want us to know about. We'll have office hours. We're going to do that twice a month, and we're probably going to kick that off in March. So stay tuned for the dates that will be available. We also want to embark on an African-American study. Many of the branches around the country do a study of their locality, kind of a report card, like the state, if you will. And we'd like to have that here in Fairfax County. We think that's going to be a 12 to 18 month effort. So probably not until second quarter of next year will we have it fully developed, but we'll be looking for a team of researchers, people who do analytics, so that we can gather that information from the county, and then of course develop it into kind of an annual report, if you will, on the state of the county, you know, for Black and Brown people. So we want to have that, like I said, available sometime next year, early next year. So we expect that that's going to be a 12-month effort, and we'll need a team to do that. And then finally, we want to measure our success. There are a lot of things that we've been doing just because we've been doing them a long time, but we want to make sure that those are things that you want to do, that they are benefiting the community that we serve, and that they make sense. So you'll see some surveys kind of at the end of the year. So we're going to, measure everything from, our in-person events to our meetings, and just see what is working and what's not. And then if it's not working for us, we really should remove it and try something different. So I want, everybody to get engaged around that. You're working on different committees. Tell us what is working and what you think will serve us well in 2024 and beyond. And that is it for me. I have one more thing. General membership meetings. We are changing our meetings. So this will be the last fourth Thursday meeting. We're changing our meetings to the fourth Tuesday. And we don't do that lightly, but what we found is that there are several Fairfax County committees and commissions, including our school board, that meets on the fourth Thursday. And all of you know that our school systems are under attack, and we need to be there at those school board meetings to make sure we're advocating for our kids. And since we're meeting on the same date, it makes it difficult. We usually do have a representative at the school board meetings, but we want to be able to make sure that our members can attend those school board meetings. And if you need to speak on behalf of us or the education committee, we want to make sure that we're available to do that. So we're moving our meetings to the fourth Tuesday. We hope that doesn't cause disruption. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, we'll survey that too at the end of the year to make sure that is working for most people. So again, this will be the last fourth Thursday meeting, and then we'll begin meeting on the fourth Tuesday in February. And then we're also going to have some in-person meetings. So you'll have opportunities to network. We're planning to have at least 4 in-person meetings this year. Someone says, thank you for moving the day. You're welcome. Now that really is the end of my president remarks. I like to say that my my inbox is always open. My virtual door is always open. Please reach out to me. One thing that I'm not great at responding to phone calls, but I am great at responding to emails. And then you can call me once you get me by email. So please, if you have a question, comment, suggestion, my email inbox is always open. I see where will in-person meetings be held. We have not chosen those yet, but if you have some suggestions, please let us know. I think we had one in-person meeting last year, and it was at Mulligan's Pub. That seemed to work out well. It was great food. There was enough space for all of us to maneuver in, and we were able to hold our business meeting as well as do some networking. So we'll probably look at Mulligan's, but if anybody has any other suggestions, please send them our way. So with that, we do have a special guest tonight, Nico Klimico. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. There we go. He is from the Virginia Progressive Leadership Program, and he's going to talk to us about this wonderful training and development program that I guess he's hoping that some of you will apply to. So let's hear it for you, Nico. I think I see you on screen. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Michelle, for having me, and thanks, Nikki, for inviting me as well. I'm really happy to be here. Is it possible for me to, perfect, for me to screen share? Okay. All right. I'm toggling windows. Can folks see my screen? Is it showing up for people?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Okay. So, like Michelle introduced, my name's Nico. I work at the Virginia Civic Engagement Table, and I run the Virginia Progressive Leadership Program, which I'm really grateful to be here and share space with you all to share some information about today. And, we're really lucky because we've had a lot of folks from the Fairfax NAACP chapter participate in the program. Karen and Nikki, to name a few, Nikki most recently this past year. Really happy to be here and hope more of y'all can join if you're interested. So I'm going to share some information about the program, and I'm going to save some time at the end for questions. I don't have the chat box open up, but yeah, there'll be some time at the end for questions if you have any. So a little bit of context, VAPLP started back in 2015 as a project between New Virginia Majority, us VSET, SEIU Virginia 512, and Progress Virginia, with Planned Parenthood joining in the second year. And it came about because, at that time in 2015, progressive was really taking shape in the national lexicon to identify a set of values that people stood for equity and social justice, for example. And there was this desire to really invest in leadership for folks who are outside the typical privilege to power pipeline. And that's what this program is about, really, and who this program's for. And historically, it's been a candidate training program for diverse representation in state and local government. But as all things evolve over the past few years, now we see that there are many ways to affect social change, whether it be in government, pushing advocacy, disrupting with direct action, providing immediate needs with a nonprofit, or anything that you're doing in the community or even your organization to just move the needle towards equity and social justice. So we're really reflecting that this year and who this is for. And it's a small group of people each year, about 12 to 18 people. So it's a 4-month program from May to August. We're saying for folks who identify as BIPOC and diverse lived experiences, but really for anybody that's working towards racial justice in their communities. So for our time together, I'm going to dive a little bit into the program model lightly, going to talk about accessibility, then share about the application process, and we'll go through some questions if you have any at the end. So it's a 3-pronged model. First is program weekends, and these are skill up trainings once a month around a certain topic. And then there's one-on-one mentorship in between these program weekends. And this is really focusing on your personal or professional growth to implement the goals that you may have and the learnings that you're taking away from those program weekends to implement post-graduation. For some people, it's been starting a nonprofit or developing a campaign or really honing in on communication message strategy, whatever it is for you, that your mentor is there to help you with it. And this year we're piloting collective action work as an ask for alumni. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that collective action is in a second. I'm going to dive into each of these prongs. Okay, so program weekends, each weekend is usually the Friday to Sunday, usually the last weekend of the month, with the exception of May because of Memorial Day weekend. And so weekend 1 is focused around positionality and community. It's in Leesburg, May 19th to the 21st. And so what that means is that we're building community and doing some critical reflection on how we show up in spaces of difference and power, and really building our community together. Then there's weekend 2 in Harrisonburg, at the end of June, and that focuses storytelling and narrative. So we're crafting our own personal story and learning how to utilize that to advance our own advocacy, and also learning about like what are the public narratives in the spaces that we occupy, and like learning how to use public narrative to like advance our own wins as well. There's also some poetry thrown in there too. And then weekend 3 is grassroots organizing, and that's in Newport News at the end of July. And this is really a light dip and a broad stroke because grassroots organizing can cover a lot, but we really touch a little bit on everything from social movement history, base building, leadership development, all the way to like campaign strategy and tactics. Then the last weekend of community-centric fundraising in Richmond at the end of August. We think about our relationship to money, how to ask for money, finding values-aligned funders, and doing like fundraising in a way that feels right. And what I mean by that is like a value-centered way, and expanding what we see as fundraising, right? Like the communities that we may be connected to may not have like access to wealth. So like, what does it mean to like think of fundraising as a way of like resources in a way that we can really be connecting with our base? Also, like tied all together, we do strategic planning and have a graduation at the end where alumni come together and it's a little party. So that's our program weekends. We also have one-on-one mentorship. So you're matched with a mid to senior level professional. And usually this person has like shared lived and or professional experience. We really try to prioritize both of those things when doing matches. And you're going on everything from like thinking of your own ideation to like distilling into like your actual action plan of what are the tools, resources, and support you need to, you know, hit the ground running post-graduation on whatever it is you want to do. And that can mean a lot of different things for different people. And these are like 1-hour meetings virtually in between program weekends. You know, then we have Action Squad. So like I mentioned, we're prototyping this year. And these are small groups within the pod who are focused on like doing a community-based project. This can be like anything from an advocacy or organizing campaign for a local issue, or doing like political education and awareness raising for something else as well. Anything that you all would really like to decide. It's really just to like our program is experiential based. So you'll see that during our workshops and trainings. It's usually not a lot of me talking. It's a lot of us like learning from each other. But so there's a lot of talking for me, but like this is the other experiential side too, right? So like actually practicing what collective action work looks like and fine tuning it as you go along. So that's our program. A note about accessibility. We really value not having like any barriers to participation to like realize our vision. So there's no cost to attend. You know, in addition to that, food and lodging is provided for program weekends. There's a travel stipend on a sliding scale. Childcare stipends are offered as well as language interpretation. We're also going to have, regarding health and safety and COVID, without going into too much detail, vaccines are, required with permitting, like, with the exception of like religious and medical reasons. And collectively, we're going to decide as a pod before weekend 1 what we want like our health and safety protocol to look like more in the weeds. Okay, so the application process. What I'll say about this is that applications are due March 15th. And it's really just a get to know you process to make sure that, we're aligned on like our values and our vision of collective liberation, our shared vision, what equity and social justice means to each other, and your own readiness to like, get going. Like, is this the point in time where VAPLP would really help you right now? Or would it be best suit for you at another point in time? The alumni are going to be pretty involved in the selections process as well. Yeah, that's all I'll say for now because of time. And you can learn more about at vaplp.org. I'm also going to drop my contact information in the chat too. And I'm happy to do a one-on-one, a virtual call to connect more about the program And I'm sending a little blurb and a 2-pager y'all's way too, if that would be helpful and supportive. Okay, so I said a lot. Do you have any questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat, Nico. Sounds like a great program. And like you said, we've had some past presidents as well as our current first VP who attended the program, graduated out of the program. Oh, actually, I do see a couple questions. How many prior pods are there?
Yeah, there are, so we're entering our 9th pod. So there have been 8 before, usually 1 a year. And there are about like 12 to 18 graduates in each pod. And reaching out to college campuses. Yeah, Judy, thanks for suggesting that. Yeah, so we partner with Virginia Student Power Network, who does a lot of like youth organizing on college campuses, and they run a fellowship program during the summer that's somewhat similar to ours. So, you know, we're really directing a lot of like college students to that program while also offering ours as well, whatever people may find is like the best fit. Yes. Are you required to attend all the sessions? Great question. Yes, we do have our attendance requirement is to attend. On paper, it's to attend all the sessions. So that means program weekends from Friday to Sunday, mentor meetings, and action squad meetings. And I say that we know life happens, so we're pretty flexible. If it gets to anything where you know, you may not be able to attend, say like a weekend or 2 weekends or something like that. We're happy to work with you. And if it becomes too much, you know, you can join next year without having to reapply. We just want to make sure you're getting the most out of the experience. Thank you so much, y'all. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Nico. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to keep moving. As like I said, we have a tight schedule tonight. All right, so our branch secretary, Mike O'Brien. I want to welcome Mike back. He was the branch secretary several years ago and went away to write a book. And as soon as he wrote the last sentence of that book, we were calling him, and he's back with us. So we're happy to have him.
Well, hello, everyone. Looking forward to an outstanding term. We have a wonderful president and a great team. My job is really in the background, you know, to take minutes of executive committee meetings and general membership meetings, process memberships, and, you know, kind of keep the backbone of the organization moving along with, of course, our treasurer and a number of other administrative folks. What I wanted to mention to you today is simply that when we met earlier this week, our new executive committee ratified the election of 4 additional members to the executive committee. All members had the opportunity to vote for the executive committee during the normal elections in November. These folks came to our attention and demonstrated interest after that. And it is allowed that the executive committee approve or disapprove new members after the general election happened. So Shirley Ginwright, our former president from 2012 to 2016, has joined the team along with Teresa Little. Many of you are familiar with her, having been the secretary for the past 4 years. Will Cooper, who is currently a serving Armed Forces person who will chair our Armed Services and Veterans Committee, and Lenore Simmons, who will be serving as our parliamentarian and who gave us a wonderful primer on parliamentary procedure at our meeting the other night. Additionally, I have the wonderful announcement to make that Jenny Igo, who has been serving on the legal, what is it called, Michelle? what is the committee? Legal Redress Committee.
Yes.
Yeah, she has agreed, and she is a member at large on the executive committee, has agreed to take over the chairmanship of the membership committee. Diane Rhodes has had to step down, although she will be continuing to serve on the committee, can no longer serve as the chairman. So Jenny has stepped up, and we're really happy to hear that. That is my report.
Thank you, Secretary O'Brien. Are there any questions? Excellent, moving right along. Our treasurer's report by Erica Scott. Let's see Erica, but I know she's here. There she is. Treasurer Scott,
Yes, can you all hear me? I just want to make sure.
we can.
Okay, good. Hello, everyone. My name is Erica Scott, and I will be serving as your new treasurer alongside Monique Norwood for the next 2 years. And so I'm happy to be here. What I wanted to share with you guys is that, let me see, I think I can share my screen. You can bear with me. Let's see. All right, I have a treasurer report that I just want to share with you guys. Hopefully my screen will do me justice here. Start broadcasting. Okay, great. Okay. Bear with me. I'm going to pull up. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Yeah, but it's super tiny.
Yeah, I
All
got four
right.
eyes and I can't
It's
see
not
Erica.
really
Yes, larger.
a little better.
Is
but
that a bit better?
Much better, thank you.
Okay, great, no problem. You know, I have to fit a whole bunch of information on this report, so I apologize. This particular report is a monthly report. This report that we're looking at here is referencing by the end of December. It's a wrap up of December. And it lists out the explanations for the treasurer report, which consists of the debits within the account, as well as the memberships that were paid for the month of December, whether there were new memberships or recurring memberships. And so this report will include the operating account. It will include the restricted funds account, as well as the youth council and information from the PayPal account. So I'll pull up the next one. It is the January, the as of today account. And basically it will show you the same things, the explanation for the treasury report, as well as the members that have come aboard, new and recurring, as well as our debits for the month of January within the various accounts that we do have, including PayPal. This particular report, as you see, it's kind of, it can become a massive report, hopefully not, but we'll try to condense it. I'll work with President Michelle to make sure I'm providing enough summary information for you guys during our meetings. But at this time, this is what I have put together, and hopefully this will provide a brief update on where the accounts stand at the moment.
Are there any questions for Treasurer Scott? Okay, hearing none, we will move right along. All right, so we are going to introduce our committee chairs. And then, like I said, at the end of the meeting, we'll have breakout rooms and you can join those breakout rooms. There'll be a committee chair in each room, so you'll get a chance to hear more from them. But I've asked everybody to keep their introductory remarks brief so we can get to the breakout rooms. So up first, we have our newest committee chair, actually not newer than Jenny, who took over membership, but our newest Armed Services Committee Chair is Will Cooper. Will?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, awesome. Hey, thanks for the introduction, Michelle. To the members, I'm new and I'm honored to serve this branch. I almost said chapter, so I caught myself, but to serve this branch as the chair for the Armed Services and Veterans Affairs Committee. Just a little about myself. I'm still in the military. I'm currently a lieutenant colonel, going on 19 years of service. So just have had a decent amount of experience. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York City. And as a chair, what I like to do is focus on two issues that are dear to my heart that affects predominantly Black veterans leaving the service. That's number one, being able to allow veterans to obtain the benefits that they deserve after service. Statistics have shown that veterans do not receive the disabilities that they deserve at the rates that they should. So a lot of that research has shown that systemic, but also there may be an educational component to that. So definitely want to see how it can help with that, get some of, being in an area that's very rich with veterans and folks in armed services. I think this is a good area to start, those programs or programs that can tackle those issues. The second issue is to get veterans better access to entrepreneurial endeavors, programs, grants, et cetera. So as veterans, we can work with the VA to be able to get into training programs, to open our own businesses, have access to grants, et cetera, et cetera. As we know, access to being able to economic development, let's just generalize it to economic development, helps all walks of life, right? Helps every aspect of life, I should say. So why not ensure that that's readily available to veterans separating from active duty? And also folks that are in the service to be able to get knowledge of that before they leave. So not just folks that are out, but those who are making that transition. So that's something, two endeavors I'm very excited to try to tackle, and very happy and excited I'm able to be a part of an experienced team. There's no ego here, so definitely looking forward to the guidance from our president and other committee members who have way more experience than I have in this type of community, and looking forward to bringing my expertise and grow as a long-term member. Thank you, and yep, if you have any questions, anybody, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Cooper, and we are going to move on. There's a comment in the chat, Will, for you. So our Chair of Criminal Justice, I didn't see Luke join us. Is Luke Lavassier on? If not, we will move on. I know I did see Dr. Hampton, our Education Chair and Second Vice President.
Good evening, everyone. Hi. So happy to be joining you for a new year. As I shared with our executive committee earlier this week, and I see a couple of you who are on our education committee here joining us. You might have noted when Michelle was sharing about the new dates for general membership, which will be our usual education committee date. So I have to find a new day. I am actually thinking, I've been just floating it to some people. I'm hoping that I can do the non-school board meeting Thursdays might work for me anyway, if we were to do the 3rd, but anyway, I will get back to you. So as I shared with them, we have a lot of things that are happening that are education centered. This is the hyperlocal election year. So we will be electing a new school board, and it's a lot of things are up for grabs. A lot of our school board members have announced that they are not running again. There's going to be a lot of upheaval, and there's a lot of focus on education issues and a lot of noise that is frankly dangerous to our conducting business and taking care of our children and taking care of our schools and keeping us healthy, safe, and learning in schools. There are a lot of threats to education. So really, it always has been, and it probably always will be, that education is a canary in the coal mine. You can see what's coming down the road if you're following what's happening in education. There are a lot of dangerous bills that are happening right now. You might have seen our action alert that Michelle, the President-elect, just referred to earlier today. She, talking to you, you might have seen it come through. There was a bill 1461 that was, it's a 3 strikes bill that would penalize children, potentially expel them, suspend them, demand. It requires that teachers take action for kids who have not heeded a warning, 2 warnings. The 3rd time would be excluded from school. That can be anything from yelling out in class to not following a dress code. And we know that those things are completely arbitrary. The discipline regarding dress code is completely arbitrary. The wording in the bill even mentioned hairstyles. So we know that that is a racist dog whistle, and we know that teachers can sometimes use their own discretion deciding what is and is not appropriate dress for particular children based on their body habitus, for example. Skinny children versus children with a little more padding on them, and what they're allowed to wear and what is considered appropriate and inappropriate clothing. And so it's really setting up predominantly Black kids, certainly kids of color, and definitely kids with disabilities, and any intersection of kids for really catastrophic and devastating situations in school. So that's just one bill. There are many, many bills that threaten our children, threaten our teachers, threaten our schools, threaten our safety, and threaten our educational future. So I was saying that our educational committee, we have some revamping to do. I definitely need, I need to reorganize us so that we have help and support, especially this year. We're trying to take on a lot of issues on a lot of fronts. And as President Leeds said, we're going to be trying to do op-eds, we're going to be trying to do press releases, we're going to be trying to keep our public notified of things that are happening. And that really does need to be work that we do all together. On a good note, we have seen tremendous progress with our literacy initiative. And we did, if Arthur Purvis, I saw him on here. I don't know if you had a chance to go look at our the FCPS website, but now the literacy section of the website on FCPS looks just spectacularly beautiful, talking about even justice-centered, reading as a justice-centered issue, and all the children that have been left out with that perspective, which is completely different. And that's 2 years work. It's extraordinary. And Emily Hanford, who is a she's nationally known for her work in structural literacy, is a journalist who's let a lot of people know about this. She was the keynote speaker today when they were doing some training on structural literacy at FCPS. So that's spectacular news. Like we were just like tearing up just hearing that Emily Hanford, who would have thought in 2 years that we would have that woman coming and speaking to this, to our school division. So there are some good things that have happened. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and I can really use all your help. And if you're on the education committee, look out for information about our new our new meeting date. I think that's what I need to say. Are there any questions?
I don't see any, but I'm sure Dr. Hampton will have much more for you in the committee breakout. So we'll move on to our Economic Development Chair with First Vice President Nikki Zimmerman.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got a hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not see you.
Hi, Pranav.
Hello to the illustrious
you.
Dr. Sujatha Hampton. I just want to say, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Pranav. I used to be the student member of the Fairfax County School Board. And I think that with the 2023 cycle, there are several open seats. I think we need to pay attention right now to the fact that our school board is 2/3 white, our student population is 2/3 minority. And that disparity is very clear in the priorities of this school board. And I think we really need a board that better prioritizes issues of educational equity and true systemic reforms for opportunity in minority populations across the county. And so I want to say, Dr. Hampton, please feel free to shoot me a text. I would love to join the committee. I'm excited for this year. And I
So
think,
glad to hear it.
yep, and with the open seats in Sully, Drainsville, and Franconia, I think there is real room for candidate recruitment of people from underrepresented backgrounds. And especially in the case of the Franconia district, right? For a long time, there has been someone on there who has not necessarily voted like they represent a heavily minority, heavily low income district. And so because that district is so overwhelmingly minority and low income, I think there in particular, we can get someone amazing.
Pranav just left the school board and now he's letting it all fly. Thank you, my friend. I will shoot you an email. Thanks so much, Pranav.
Thank you.
We definitely appreciate those comments. And as somebody whose kid went to school in the Franconia district, yes, I second that emotion. Thank you. All right. First Vice President Nikki Zimmerman.
Hi, good
You're
evening,
online.
everyone. Oh, okay. Am I good?
You are good.
Okay, thank you. My name is Nikki Zimmerman. I'm you all's first VP. A little bit of background about me. I am originally from Miami, Florida. I graduated from Miami-Dade Public Schools. And I joined the military right after about 2 years of college. I went to an HBCU, and I went to the military. I've been serving in the military for the past 21 years. And some of my advocacy work began right here in 2016 with the Fairfax County NAACP. And as President Lee has mentioned, alongside of past President Karen Camblin, I sit on the executive board for the state. And I'm also you all's area director for 5 Northern Virginia branches. But for the conversation we're having now, we're going to talk a little bit really quickly about economic development. So as your economic development chair, what we have prioritized on the committee, especially post-COVID, is, you need something, President? Okay. Okay. What we have prioritized, especially post-COVID, is job creation, job sustainability, entrepreneurship. So we have worked very hard, very diligent on Black Business Expos that we have yearly. In December, we try to do it like a Black Friday event where we bring together, whether virtual or in person, between 15 to 18 local Black vendors who sell their products. Sometimes it's lotion, sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's sweet treats, things of that such. We bring them together to sell their products to the Fairfax County community. Another initiative that we do for the Economic Development Committee is we do job fairs, because as I stated, job creation is very important. So we do job fairs and we partner with the labor unions and with FCPS as well as OR. So I want you all to be on the lookout for a jobs fair. I'm not sure if we're going to do it in person or not. If we do it in person, then we are some of the companies will be able to hire on the spot. However, because everybody's getting so used to doing things virtual, that option of being hired on the spot is not there in a virtual environment. So we're still trying to weigh out whether or not we're going to do virtual job fair or in person. But we also leave the space for our veterans community through helmets to hard hats. And we partner with them on our job fairs. And we have a space for re-entering citizens who may have done some time and paid their dues, and they're coming back and need a leg up. So those are our concentrated areas, or the people who we mostly try to, reach out to for our job fairs. Now, something new, 2 things that are new this year that we're adding is the Military Sea Lift Command. We're going to partner with them to do a jobs fair. And if you are not familiar with the Military Sea Lift Command, that is like the Merchant Marines. Those are civilian personnel who work on military ships. Sometimes the ships are commercial build, but for the most part, they're military ships. And you will work on in the kitchen, you will work in the, cleaning up, you would do security, you would do welding, whatever trade or whatever jobs they have available to you and for you. They will take your application and hopefully hire you. But we're also working on that for the Military Sea Lift Command. So the two job fairs that we're having this year are one, the labor union job fair, and two, the Military Sea Lift Command. And hopefully we won't be so burnt out towards the end of the year. We can go ahead and plan our Black Business Expo. But our 50-meter target, as we say in the military, is coming up next month, which is our Black History Month program, which is being facilitated by the Economic Development Committee. And the theme for this year is Black Resistance, Building Back Black Wall Street. And I will leave you with this. Look up and research Black Wall Street in the past and how different communities are building those back up in the present. So that is the focus and the theme for the Black History Month program that, again, is for the entire branch, but it's being facilitated by the Economic Development Chair, subject to your questions. No questions seen. I send it back to you, President Lee.
Thank you so much, Vice President Zimmerman. Great presentation. All right, moving right along. We have Mary Payton from our Housing Committee. Mary.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you. Our Housing Committee has been getting pretty active. It's been in existence. It started out under Nikki, and it's grown out on its own since I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And we've got 7 kind of goals for this year, and I'll just read them off to you. And they're very different. There's a lot of different things that needs to be done in the housing area. One is, of course, fair housing. And there's several opportunities this year. Fair housing has not been achieved yet. It's been a long time since 1968 when the Fair Housing Act was passed, but there's been some testing in Fairfax County that shows there's still different treatment between Blacks and whites in mortgage lending, in activities with real estate agents, and still in apartment rentals. There's a new fair housing set of goals coming out from the Council of Government any minute now, and we're going to review those and give our input to it and try to get Fairfax County to make some commitments on those goals for the next year or the next 5 years, and see if we can't make that a little better in the county. Another goal is to enhance tenants' rights. There's a lot of tenants' rights are not very well protected in Virginia. It's better in Maryland and DC. And we want to help work with the tenants organizations to get better treatment for tenants. We want to help build Black home ownership, or any kind of home ownership. Home ownership is very difficult in Fairfax County because it's very expensive, and also because of the discrimination that's been found in mortgage lending. And we want to work towards policies that will help build Black home ownership. We want to, can't even read my handwriting here. We want to increase funds in both the county and the state for affordable housing. You cannot, if you make 40% of the area median income, which is around 140,000 now for a family of 4, you make like 40% of that or less. You cannot rent a market rate apartment. There just aren't any. They don't build them at that level. There's a great need for subsidized housing in Fairfax County just because the cost of living is so high. if we want to have people who we proudly called essential workers during COVID living here in the county, there has to be some intentional programming on the part of the government to make that happen. So we are promoting increasing funds for that. We're also we're promoting legislation on tenant rights, and especially on mobile home parks, which are a great source of affordable housing. There's only 8 of them left in Fairfax County, but they're all threatened by development, and we'd like to see them remain intact. We're also advocating for homeless people and low-income people, especially during the summer when it's getting hotter, more rain, more storms, more floods. And these are the most vulnerable citizens, according to a major report by the county on climate change resilience. And they're out in the elements and they need some help. And we have coordinated with the county to do a survey of homeless people and to make some recommendations. And I just had a meeting today and it looks like these are all going to go through to the board and will probably happen this coming summer. So I'm very happy about that. So we have our meetings on the first Thursday at 11 a.m. We also have 2 subcommittees that are very active. One is on advocacy at the local and state level, and one is on fair housing. And so we have like 3 different meetings a month. And we have also activities in the other area is equitable development. We're very interested in, as Fairfax is redeveloping a lot in the older areas where there's older apartments that people live in for less rent than they would in a newer apartment. And those areas are now being redeveloped around all the transit stations and the bus lines, which is where they developed in the first place after the war. And now they're getting old and they're redeveloping. And we're really pushing to preserve affordable housing in those areas and not have mass displacement of people like they have in many areas of urban renewal. We don't want that to happen in Fairfax County. We want some assurance that there'll be preservation of affordable housing and right of return for residents if they do get displaced and new buildings are set up. So I'd be very happy to talk to anyone who is interested in the Housing Committee and the breakout session. Thanks, Michelle. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to hand up one more time.
Oh,
Hi,
go
Bernard.
right ahead.
And then I'm done, I promise.
Yeah, I know you.
Mary, it's so nice to meet you again. I'm now an NAACP member, so I would also love to be involved. I also just want to emphasize, right, once again, with the systemic changes, I am always going to support and be a huge fan of the tenant protections, the individual affordable housing projects. Simultaneously, I do think, especially taking a note from our neighbors in Arlington, we need to look at the racial impact of our zoning laws and how they've impacted us. Because after the Fair Housing Act, you could no longer say, no people of color allowed in this community, but you could say it's illegal to build anything other than a single family home. And so on more than 70% of the county's land, it's illegal to build anything other than single family. And the average price of a new single family home in Fairfax County is $1 million. I don't know about you all, but I do not have $1 million for a home. And so when we look at things like that, I think it's really important, right, that we see, can our county legalize townhomes on all lots? And ideally, I'm not sure it would go through with this current Board of Supervisors, but could we even legalize more apartments? Because I think also what we see is when it's only legal to build apartments in these existing older low-income areas, those are the place developers gravitate towards because they can't build it in the single family neighborhoods. And so there are places where people want to live. but cannot build homes. I know the Arlington NAACP has done great work and partnership, and I would love to see what we can do here in Fairfax County, both with that and with the comprehensive plan, the area plans, the zoning code itself. There are these big restrictions, artificial restrictions on residential density, and it inhibits upward mobility for communities of color. It reinforces patterns of residential segregation, and ultimately, there are some Band-Aid solutions, but this is kind of the triaging surgery solution, if you will. I mean, this really hits at everything.
Yeah, well, you're right, Pranav. Fairfax, I don't know if they're quite ready politically for that, but if Arlington does it, we may follow. Someday we're going to have to follow. We can't not follow in that path. It's just maybe take some time. And yeah, no, I agree with you. And we'll start talking about it.
Absolutely. And with those 2 open Board of Supervisors seats in Drainesville and Mason, I think we've really got to push the new people to be leading voices on this.
Great. Thank you. So up next, we have our Freedom Fund Fundraising Committee. And we have a dynamic trio, Rachel Luckenbaugh, Monique Norwood, and Erica Scott. Not sure who's speaking.
I'm going to start. Hi, I'm Rachel Luckenbaugh. I am one of the co-chairs. Monique Norwood, the assistant treasurer, and Erica Scott, the treasurer, are going to be co-chairing with me. And I've been a member of this committee for 2 years, so I'm excited to step into this leadership role. We are a small but growing committee. We are always looking for people to join. So please reach out to us if you are interested. So as the name suggests, we are responsible for planning and putting on all of the fundraising activities and events for this chapter. We've been mostly online these past few years with COVID, but our kind of big priorities for last year and then for this year as well is to slowly start bringing back our in-person events. We had our first kind of big in-person event last year, our annual Freedom Fund event in the fall, and we'll be doing that again in the fall. But our big priority right now is our most recent upcoming events, which will be next week. And for that, I'm going to pass that over to Monique to talk about that. Monique? Is Monique here?
She is. Here she is.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself. Thank you,
No
Rachel.
worries.
So as Rachel mentioned, we are part of the Freedom Fund Committee, and that committee is charged with kind of raising the funds of the NAACP, because as you've heard from a lot of the committee members, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and freedom is not free. So one of the events that we have coming up next week is our Chipotle kind of dine in or dine out. It's a fundraiser. Just mention that you are with the Fairfax County NAACP, and they will give us a percentage of what we raise. I don't have the address, but I think we do have the flyer. I know that it was sent out in the emails for you, but we're just hoping that you all can come out and support us and continue to support our mission. And we'd love to have you on our committee as well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's at the, I don't know the specific address, but is at the Fair Lake Shopping Center is where the Chipotle is located.
Sorry, were you able to hear me?
Yes, we got it, Monique. Yep, we
Okay,
heard you. Are there any questions for the Freedom Fund? All right, moving on. We have our Legal Redress Committee Chair with Mike Woltz.
Thank you, Michelle. Make sure you can hear me.
I can.
Perfect. So as Michelle said, I'm Mike Woltz. I have been the chair of Legal Redress Committee since January of 2020. As luck or bad luck would have it, I think the first meeting in person that I attended was last August. because I think March 18th was the general membership meeting that was going to be added. I think we all know what happened then. Since that time, committee has built up a good group of folks, and membership has gone a little up and down. We have increased our numbers again. I'd like to get it a little larger because we do have a backlog of some complaints. Unsurprisingly, with inequality, with racism, oppression, there's a lot of people who reach out for support and need it. And while we do not provide legal representation or legal advice, we are advocates for citizens in the county. And that's the most important thing we can provide somebody knowing that someone's on their side and somebody is, working on their behalf. So more details can be provided in the breakout, but just to give you an overview, the types of complaints that we've dealt with, it's been employment, it's been tenant landlord issues, it's been commerce, commercial transactions, or folks doing business. Our largest two complaints, which should really come as no surprise if anybody pays attention in this county or this country, is police misconduct in the education system, whether it's employees or families who've had issues with school. So we are always looking for folks. You do not have to be a lawyer. I am one, but I would say the majority of us are not. You don't need to be one. You just need to be willing to get some new skills, or maybe if you have them already, in terms of being able to really listen to folks and ask some good questions. You will get trained, you'll get oriented, prepared, and every case is it's like a snowflake kind of. It's a different shape, it's a different look. And so you will get to learn from each other. You'll get to learn hopefully from me and others who have more experience with this. But it is serious and it's hard work, but that's what we do. Any questions folks have?
Mike, it's Diana Rhodes. I was thinking of possibly getting involved, but do you want an actual resume for that you put out, or just a description of experience and stuff?
Well, I'd like to see, you're not applying for the job, just to be clear, like the pay, everybody gets paid the same. So don't think that, that extra master's degree is going to get you a bump. But just to get a sense of folks, if you don't know people really well, just helps give a sense of your background. It doesn't mean, again, if one of our most active committee members now, he has a finance background, but he's been doing a lot since he's joined the committee. It's Les Shockley. I'm calling you out. You don't have to say anything, Les, but just so people know who I'm talking about. But it's just to get a better sense of who folks are.
Sure. Can I just email you about it?
Absolutely.
You personally. Okay, thanks.
Definitely. I see a question from Arthur about so the civilian review panel. Well, it's interesting you say, because one of the meetings we had last fall with the new executive director of the civilian review panel, I had followed up with him about a few community that had reached out, filed a complaint. And the person who filed the complaint, she did have, we can describe as a pretty traumatic experience with police, but what she had also said to us was other folks in her community have had experiences where they felt they were being targeted or having extra surveillance and interactions with the police. And I was trying to get a hold of him to see if they'd be willing to, the civilian review panel that is, would be willing to convene a meeting, somewhere central to that particular neighborhood, and wasn't able to hear back from him yet. I think we have to just kind of reestablish those communications to see what would come of that. But honestly, the biggest challenge or impediments I see to this civilian review panel is that they don't have really any enforcement capabilities. And if you can enforce accountability, you can present reports, you can talk about things, but there's only so much you can do. So more on that to come, but I appreciate that question.
Are there any other questions? Okay. We have a few more committee chairs and then we will open up the breakout room. Our membership chair, our newest chair, Jenny Iga.
Thank you, President Lee. I will try to be quick with this. As mentioned, I am new to this membership chair position as of 2 days ago. I gave Mike Waltz a heads up, but it was a shock to my fellow legal redress members. So yeah, guys, I'm your membership chair now. I've been a member of the branch and with legal redress for the past couple of years, since the summer of 2020. I'm excited about stepping up. I'm both a member at large of the executive committee and now the chair for the membership committee. So I'm excited about this opportunity to get a little more involved with the branch. So I see membership as having two main areas of focus. Obviously, there's increasing membership. We constantly are looking for new members. We want to grow the branch. We want to build our solidness. I don't know. I had a better word a second ago and it went away. And one of the things we're focusing on, National has handed down a challenge for us to increase our membership by 30% by March 1st, which is, sounds like a lot, but it's doable. So that's an area of focus. And then the other area of focus that I see for membership is supporting our existing members. And this can be just as important, if not more. You know, working in concert with communications and the other committee members, making sure that members know what we're up to, what your dues are supporting, what kind of bang for your buck you're getting by supporting us and being a member, helping to keep you informed and engaged. President Lee touched on part of the 2023 vision she has is improved membership engagement. That's absolutely one of our priorities for this year. So I look forward to talking with anybody who is interested in either volunteering on the committee or who has questions related to membership in the breakout session. And anybody is also welcome to email me at any time. It's membership@fairfaxnaacp.org, and I will put that in the chat. I do see a question from Meg about how many members there are now. And this actually came up at Tuesday's XCOM meeting. So Mike O'Brien, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard about 450. So we're somewhere around the 450 range at the moment.
That's what Teresa told me about a month ago. So I think that's about right.
That's about right.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions right now? Thanks, you guys. And thank you, President Lee.
Thank you. Moving on to our political action chair with our immediate past president, Karen Camlin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, good to see you all. I'm going to be really brief because I would love to get to the breakout session so we can talk a little bit more in detail. But the highlights for what we're going to be focusing on, at least for the first 6 months of this year, is going to be voter education or voter registration. As Dr. Hampton had indicated earlier in our meeting, is that this is going to be a very big election year. All of our offices are on the ballot, all the way from our state senator down to our clerk of the court. So it is a very important time and opportunity for the branch to get our message out during these conversations. And so that would be getting our information out to candidates, and that would be conducted through candidate forums, but it's also making sure that we have a strong voter participation, particularly in the Black community. Now, I know there are a lot of organizations such as the League of Women Voters that do wonderful work with voter registration. So we are going to be partnering with them on registering new voters, and as well as working within the schools to make sure that we have those that are going to be eligible to vote in November, to make sure that they're aware of that and they register. But what is really big in the Black community is that infrequent voters is also an issue that that's where we're going to really focus, is just try to get the Black voters back to the poll. And that is through, if you miss, I think it's 3 election cycles in a row, you risk getting your name removed from the polls. So these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. And then, like I said, just making sure that we get the information, as President Leet said, making sure that we keep our membership informed and as active as we possibly can. And that is sending out information about the candidates, what their positions are, and then of course, what are our key issues that we want to make sure that we ask those candidates during those candidate forums. And then, as you probably heard a lot last year, we went through the redistricting cycle. So a lot of people, for me, I have a new delegate, I have a new senator, and I have a new congressman. My polling location has changed the same, but for some folks, those have changed. So we need to get that information out so they know where to go and who to vote for. So that is going to be a major education campaign. And then, of course, access to voting. As you know, the last couple of years, we had a lot of great legislation that increased access for voting, whether it's same day registration, Sunday souls to the polls. We have great early voting session, all of these wonderful things, such as our drop-offs, 24-hour drop-offs, mailing and everything. As you know, once we got a new governor, he was able to appoint new folks to the electoral boards. And so that means that there is a lot of these voter protection and expansion programs that we experienced over the last couple of years. They are now at risk. So we're going to have to be hyper vigilant on some of these voter protection repeals that are going to be going on. There are a lot of bills that are going on right now during the General Assembly, and as President said, we have political action on the state level that has been very active, going to the General Assembly and making sure that our voice is heard, as well as supporting what Dr. Hampton had mentioned with HB 1461. So we've got a lobbyist that is under contract with our state. And so we're trying to block as many of the bills on the state level. But like I said, there's a lot of things that we can do on a local level to make sure that our voting rights, our protection, and access to the poll stays as open to everyone here in Fairfax County. And so I look forward to talking to everyone, but we do need a lot of help. This is a lot of boots on the ground. Last year, we did a Get Out the Vote program, which we're going to be doing for the primary as well as the general election, which is dropping literature to highlight what are the issues that are important to our community and why it is so important to go to the polls. So we're going to so look forward to our conversation in the breakout room.
Thank you, Vice President Camlin. And if you would just hold your questions, we have a couple more committees to get through, and then we're going to open up the breakout rooms. So up next is our Religious and Faith Community co-chairs, Kara and Jason Micas. They are also new. They actually transitioned from Reverend Linda at the end of last year. So we're really happy to have them both.
Yeah, hi, Jason Micas here, my wife Kara. Very quickly, we are looking to engage with faith groups in Fairfax County and partner with them to promote the focuses of the NAACP. We're looking to educate the community on race relations, and to that we have discovered some resources in the community, such as the Loudoun County NAACP's allyship program, and there's some other programs like Pame has an organization he's familiar with or part of, offers a similar webinar. Also, we have a Juneteenth celebration coming up in several months at the Bull Run Cemetery, the site of the slave cemetery and formerly enslaved cemetery. That was part of the land that Robert Carter III gifted when he freed those that he had enslaved. We're also doing volunteer opportunities at that cemetery coming up on March 25th and June 10th. So you can join our breakout and learn more about how you can help out with those opportunities to help maintain that site. Anything else, Karen? That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. And up next, I believe we have our communications chair, Michelle Pulliam. Oh, I'm sorry, there is a question. Dee Dee Carter, you have a question?
Yeah, are you referring to the Harris Cemetery that's at Bull Run Park?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because that's the Harris Cemetery.
Yeah, it's the Harris Family Cemetery inside behind the Atlantic.
Yes, behind the pool area. Yeah, they've had
Right.
A tour of that cemetery, and they're looking for people to help out, to help clean up, and they're trying to find more graves out there because they think there's more graves out of that cemetery, and that's been behind
Right.
bushes and brush back over on the other side when I went up there. But they had cleaned up a lot, and they've notified a lot of graves, but I think there's a lot more graves to be found.
Yeah, and that's one of
Yeah.
the projects we're working with. Mhm.
Yeah, we're cleaning it up, just because it needs to be cleaned up, also cleaning it up right before the Juneteenth event, and then hopefully in the fall, we'll have some projects that expand the cleaning of the brush so that they can do more ground penetrating radar.
Any
that
other
answer your question?
questions? Okay, so Michelle Pulliam. I thought I saw her on.
I am.
Yeah, there you go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm definitely not going to hold you all long. Our committee, of course, does not have all the fascinating things going on that all the other committees have going on. But however, we are the committee that will bring you all of the fascinating things that the other committees are doing on all of the great advocacy work that all the committees are doing. And so if you want to be a part of helping us get the word out on behalf of the branch, meet us in the breakout room, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Thank you, President Lee.
You are welcome. Okay, so I'm going to open the breakout room shortly, but I did want to make sure that we introduced our other members at large who are serving on committees: Meredith Havasey, Teresa Little, and Lenore Simons, who is going to be serving as our parliamentarian. We did have a parliamentarian presentation. I'm going to move that to February in the interest of time. So you will be hearing from parliamentarian in February. There's also, I did want to make sure that we noted that we have a few open positions, the chair of the Health Committee of Environmental and Climate Justice, as well as the co-chair of our Justice Committee. So if anyone is interested in that, please reach out to me. And then finally, I wanted to make sure that we knew about our Black History Month celebration on February 25th, as well as our Chipotle fundraiser that our Freedom Fund team talked about, which is on February 1st at Fair Lake Shopping Center. And with that, I am going to actually adjourn our meeting at 8:23 and then open up our breakout rooms. You will be able to move from breakout room to breakout room. So if you want to go and listen in for education for a little bit and then jump over to Freedom Fund, you can do that. So you should see the breakout rooms. They'll be named, they'll be on your screen. And like I said, you can just join whichever breakout room you'd like to at will. And then you can always come back to the main room as well if you have questions. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And Secretary O'Brien, if you just note that we're adjourning the meeting at 8:23, and our communications team, you can turn off the recording.